Tonight, we'll parse some overreactions from week one and preview week two in the National Football League. Sal Pal joins to talk Eagles Chiefs, Aaron Rodgers, and also how does Josh Allen do it week after week. Justin Mark joins to put his money up. And we're always joined, of course, each week by Bill Reinhard. He's got your fantasy setup for week two. Finally, we'll close it out with the Hall of Famer Ray Didinger. We'll be talking to Ray about the Kansas City Chiefs and whether there might be a descent right now. Of course, the NFC East and how some things never change. And what's with all the streaming in the National Football League? All that and more coming up here on the week two edition of This Week in Pro Football.
It's time for This Week in Pro Football, a deep dive into the key issues and marquee matchups in the National Football League. For the next 60 minutes, we invite you to sit back or lean in with host Pat Callahan as we preview the week's Eagles matchup, big games, breaking stories, and all news NFL. It's This Week in Pro Football, right now on JAKIB Media Sports.
Good evening, everybody. Pat Callahan back joining you week number two, the National Football League. It's This Week in Pro Football here on JAKIB Sports. Thanks to everybody for hanging in here. I just wasn't able to suit up. I was late to inactive last week. Thanks to Xander for filling in for me and feeling good tonight, though. So off we go. Off we go on another season of This Week in Pro Football. And thanks again for taking the time to join me. I'll throw a trivia question at you in about a half an hour. First one that I see answers it right, of course, wins a fabulous This Week in Pro Football t-shirt, not available in stores. So sit back and please join the chat. I'd love to see the chat, the comments, and let's see if we can get a dialogue going between us two, in addition to an all-star lineup that I've got tonight. Sal Paolantonio, of course, the linchpin of the program, joining. And Bill Reinhard talks some fantasy. Justin Mark will join us all season long from the Sports Gambling Podcast to put his money up. And we'll finish it up with the great Ray Didinger in about an hour's time to wrap up the show. So, all right, so here we go. Week one was, as usual, full of surprises. But my take on it, the usual overreactions is that there's no preseason anymore. So when things happen in week one, either a desultory performance by the Detroit Lions, let's say, or all of a sudden the Steelers and Jets put up 66 points out of nowhere, and then conversely you get the Rams and Texans putting up 23. Well, you really don't. How do you foresee that? And you always have to resist the temptation to make a season-long premise out of it, because I don't think it's there. It'll be interesting to see. Like, for instance, I think the Lions are going to bounce back in a big way at home against the Bears. The Bears living up to their long-standing tradition, along with the Falcons, of always finding a way to lose a game that they most definitely should win. So there's some teams you can count on that no matter what. And Chicago, of course, being one of them. The Chiefs went down on another streaming game. I didn't watch a play. Friday night, the NFL's new basis of operation, Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we'll have some dialogue tonight with both Sal and with Ray Didinger about whether, even though I'm violating my own rule here, whether the Chiefs are finally due for a slowdown. We'll see. The Chargers always usually find a way to lose those games to Kansas City. They didn't this time. Chargers look pretty good. And then, Green Bay, conversely with Detroit, Green Bay looks unbelievable and just plays strong on both sides of the ball and wins convincingly over Detroit, not giving up a touchdown to the last couple of minutes of the game. So now all of a sudden Green Bay is the powerhouse in the NFC. I'm not signing off on that yet. I got to see a lot more from that kid at quarterback, Jordan Love, than just one game against the Lions, whose heads to me looked elsewhere. And I'm going to talk with Sal in just a couple minutes That Sunday night game, just unbelievable. 40-25 with four plus minutes to go in the game. And Josh Allen manages to score 16 points in the last 4+ minutes. Buffalo wins against Baltimore. Those two teams they're like a Shakespearean tragedy. It's just that seemingly every year, two AFC teams aren't going to the Super Bowl. So every year, one of them is going to be left at the altar. It's tough. It's tough. If not both. I'm not going to write the Chiefs off entirely yet. But that'll be an interesting game. Is Sunday, Eagles-Chiefs, 4:25. You figure the Chiefs are going to come back strong. They haven't gone 0-2 in 10 years. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's certainly a marquee game of the week. Always a marquee part of this program is this gentleman here. Xander, you can bring him on. That would be, of course, the great Sal Paolantonio, host of the ESPN NFL Matchup Show since 2004. Longest-running sports program in the nation, author of numerous NFL books, and the senior correspondent for ESPN. Sal, how are you?
Pat, I'm doing great. Great to be back on the air with you. How are you? Good.
I'm doing good, Sal. Thank you very much. Thanks for your support throughout the whole thing. And thanks for my record and fact book. All right. I've already bent the cover back. All right.
That's good. Yeah. Well, let's thank Shane Ramsey of the Eagles PR department for being so kind to ship it to you directly.
Yes. That was awful nice.
Thanks. On the road, so the Eagles PR department's supporting This Week in Pro Football, as it should be.
All right, Sal, let's go. Before we get to the break, I want to hit you with I'm always fascinated by these week one overreactions. There's no preseason anymore. They just throw the ball out there on the first Sunday in September and say, all right, go play. But everybody reacts like it's week 17. So let me hit you with a couple and give me your thoughts, all right?
Yep.
The Detroit Lions will not get over the loss of Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson.
Well, they certainly are going to miss Ben Johnson. There's no question about that. I think with the rest of that defensive staff and that defensive personnel that they have, I think they can regather themselves from that disaster in Green Bay. I knew they would have trouble in Green Bay. I said from the get-go that was an absolute must-win for Matt LaFleur at home. Packers were 1-5 in the division last year. They had to win that game, and they had to win it big. They just brought in Micah Parsons. It had all the makings of a rout, and it was. I think they definitely will miss Ben Johnson and his creativity and his play calling. They don't have a dual threat quarterback. They don't have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts who can get them out of trouble when one aspect of the offense is shut down. And if you shut down Jared Goff and that deep passing game, problem.
Yeah.
He can't escape. He can't escape. I don't have the Detroit Lions making the playoffs this year, Pat.
All right, Sal. Now that's great that you make a comment like that because, I from you, I don't consider it an overreaction, right? But it'll be something, Sal, if the Lions window closes that fast because they, a year ago, 2 years ago, they were looked on as a serious Super Bowl contender, But I have my doubts about Goff too. We'll see if he can. We'll see. Sal, the second overreaction. This is finally the year of the Kansas City Chiefs' descent.
I don't believe that's true. I think when you have Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to see a descent. I think they're going to struggle like they did against the Chargers. They didn't seem to have their heart in the trip to Brazil. Having made that trip last year, Pat, I can tell you see these gray hairs, they got grayer. That's a tough trip. It's a tough trip. It's a super tough turnaround. And I didn't play a football game.
Right.
So it's a long plane ride from California and Kansas City to Sao Paulo, and to play a football game. I didn't see the inspiration that they usually play with, especially considering they got steamrolled in the Super Bowl. I think they'll bounce back in this game. I sent you the numbers. Patrick Mahomes II is 11-4 as an underdog in his career, 11-4. So this is the 16th time he's been an underdog in his career.
Yeah.
And 11-4 is the best record as an underdog as a quarterback in the Super Bowl era. I think they will bounce back, but the Eagles are a very, very tough team. They are a difficult team to beat because they're well coached and the quarterback's locked in right now. I think Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the league right now.
Really? Well, let me bring up another. The last thing I wanted to ask you about before the break was another quarterback who you'd get an argument about, and that's Josh Allen. What is it about this guy, Sal, that the way he takes command of a game, and he's throwing lasers 30 yards down the field, and with 4 minutes to go, down 15 points, like it's the middle of a preseason game.
Yeah, I have the Bills and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, Pat. I think the Bills, when you look at their schedule, it's very favorable. All the playoff teams that are tough within the conference and outside the conference, they all play them in Orchard Park.
Yeah, including Philadelphia, right?
Philadelphia, Kansas City, they just beat Baltimore. Cincinnati has to go there this year.
Right.
They have a very favorable schedule. Listen, we've seen Sean McDermott coach small. Now, James Cook has a hamstring injury, their premier running back. So that's an issue with them. That is definitely an issue. So, they have to have balance on offense. They must be able to run the ball to be effective in the passing game with Josh Allen. You can't put a cape on him every week and expect him to bail you out. That's what Jalen Hurts has. Jalen Hurts has Saquon Barkley, and that's an important component of what Jalen Hurts can do, both as a runner and a thrower of the football.
Yeah. Yep. Well, he certainly can, and it's a great comparison, Allen to Hurts, because Hurts didn't overdo it. He did Thursday exactly what he did all last season. He just defense gave it to him. He took it, and they win the game. So, all right, when we get back, Sal, I want to talk about get a comment from you about the Eagles win over Dallas. Also, look ahead to Eagles Chiefs, and I know you're going to be in Pittsburgh this week, so I'm going to get a word from you about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
And, all right, so we'll do all that with the great Sal Paolantonio when we return here on This Week in Pro Football, presented by Kennedy Ford.
Welcome back. We've got another exciting play underway at KennedyAuto.com.
That's right. At KennedyAuto.com, you can browse their entire inventory from home.
The customer is scrolling hundreds of Ford, Mazda, and Subaru vehicles right at his fingertips.
He made his selection and got a bottom line price set directly to his email. He could go all the way.
And the deal is good, all without leaving his couch. Incredible. KennedyAuto.com. Enjoy your ride.
Discover the essence of true community banking with First Bank, your trusted partner across Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Their network of branches brings you convenient access to dedicated personal bankers who understand your unique needs. At First Bank, you're not just a customer, you're a valued member of the community. Additionally, they are excited to announce the opening of 2 new branches in Media, Pennsylvania and Trenton, New Jersey, bringing their personalized banking services even closer to you. Connect with any member of the team today at their Westchester office, conveniently located at 849 Paoli Pike, or call them at 484-881-3800. First Bank is an equal opportunity lender and member FDIC.
Johnny Apple's Restaurant and Bar opened in 2001 and for over 20 years has been serving great food and good times to Bucks County residents, friends, and family. Ideally located at 184 Buck Road in Holland, Johnny Apple's offers a terrific array of steaks, seafood, and daily specials. They also host private parties and affairs of any size. For excellent food, great company, and a relaxed lunch or dinner, check out Johnny Apple's Restaurant at 215-953-9900 or at johnnyapplesrestaurant.com.
All right, welcome back. This Week in Pro Football here, presented by Kennedy Ford here on JAKIB Sports. The great Sal Palantonio with me for another segment here. And Sal, just a word about the Eagles and the Cowboys. I wouldn't call it. I mean, it was a good win for Philadelphia. They didn't have to do. I thought Dallas played better than I expected. To tell you the truth, I thought they ran the ball a little better, but of course, it certainly helped that 98 wasn't in the game. But my question is on the other side. We talked about Jalen Hurts, but Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown combined 4 receptions for 24 yards. Anything to read into that?
Well, Puka Nacua had 130 receiving yards. He was the leading receiver in week 1 in the National Football League, and the Rams scored a grand total of 14 points.
Right.
So be very, very careful
how
you read into passing game numbers in the NFL.
Right.
We are in the middle of a running back revolution in the National Football League. The top 9 teams last year in rushing attempts all made the playoffs, Pat Callahan, and the Eagles led the way in that category and won the Super Bowl. So, the Rams were one of the top 9 in rushing attempts last year. To me, don't look at A.J. Brown and how he played the game as a blocker in the running game. Now, of course, you want the ball to go to A.J. Brown. Don't get me wrong. There are going to be opportunities for A.J. Brown. But Eberflus, the Dallas coordinator, coached with Nick Sirianni for 3 years in Indianapolis. He knows the passing game concepts of Nick Sirianni and that offense inside and out. They did a really good job, Dallas, of matching up the routes defensively. And that forced Jalen Hurts to look away from A.J. Brown a lot. Now, can Kevin Patullo be more creative? Yes. Can Jalen Hurts take more chances with A.J. Brown and the football? Sometimes, yes. Trust A.J. Brown to come down in a tight window with a football. Right. That's his calling card.
Right.
Super strong receiver with great hands. He will fight for the ball and take it away and make sure he comes down with it. High point, whatever it is, he's super strong. So Jalen Hurts has to take more chances, and Kevin Patullo has to be more creative in getting A.J. Brown the football. But Brown did a great job as a blocker.
All right.
He really did.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, you answered that.
He earned his money in that game, Pat. He did.
All right. All right. Well, certainly the statistic you threw out about top 9 rushing attempt teams all made the playoffs. That about answers that question. So the Eagle passing game, I think, yeah, you're right. I think it will answer the bell when it needs to be rung. I guess the question is, you hate to see the first time you need the passing game, there's a minute and a half to go and you're 70 yards away. But certainly they're a veteran enough team, I think, Sal. They can they can jump on that horse quick enough. The Chiefs you mentioned, they're not desperate. I mean, it's only week 2. I wouldn't use the word desperate. But what will Kansas City do defensively that they certainly didn't do in the Super Bowl?
They're very limited in what they can do because the Eagles have great options offensively. So Spagnuolo stacked the box, took away Saquon Barkley in Super Bowl 59. And Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts hit the big number, hit that dagger route over the top. That's what was going on there. You throw it when they think you're going to run it, and you run it when they think you're going to throw it. I mean, the game is not much more complex than that. And when you have those kinds of options available to you offensively, the Eagles have 2/3 of their salary cap on offense, devoted to their offense for a reason, because they have great offensive players. And I just think the way Jalen Hurts manages the offense at the line of scrimmage, getting out of bad plays, getting into good ones, he's right now on the top of his game. He really is. And the balance that they have on offense is the best in the National Football League. You mentioned the Bills. You talked about Josh Allen right away. But if Josh Allen had Saquon Barkley, we'd have a different conversation. If Josh Allen had the Eagles' offensive line, which is the largest, heaviest offensive line in the National Football League and so difficult to penetrate in the passing game, and who else has Mailata and Lane Johnson as anchors on the outside of that offensive line?
I know.
You have 2 Pro Bowlers who were at the top in Pro Football Focus grading in both run stopping and pass blocking. Pass blocking and run blocking.
Right. That's amazing. That's amazing that they've been able to keep that offense together too. Done a great job. We talked about that, how good a job the front office has done. All right, Sal, the other side of the ball, the Chiefs could not handle the Eagles' 4-man rush. Simply couldn't handle it. So what is Kansas City now going to have to do to try and offset that? Is it going to be 12 personnel the whole game?
Well, let's remind everybody, in case you forgot, Vic Fangio did not bring the blitz once in Super Bowl 59. 0 blitzes. And yet they tormented, tortured, steamrolled that Kansas City Chiefs offensive line and absolutely obliterated Patrick Mahomes II in the pocket like he's never been hit before. Never. Right. So there's a couple of things going on there. One, the Chiefs offensive line, was not up to the task. 2, I don't think Patrick Mahomes II moves as well as he has in the past because of all the leg injuries he's had. Now, he may be better now, but I don't think he is as quick or maneuverable. And 3, 98, Jalen Carter. By the way, if Jalen Carter's on the field, Eagles cover it on Thursday night. They blow the Cowboys out.
Yeah, I thought, Dallas obviously ran the ball much better than anybody thought, and I think that's a huge reason why he wasn't there.
Most double-team defensive tackle in the NFL, Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
And so the Eagles are right now susceptible in their secondary, but I don't see the Chiefs taking advantage of that. Beyond Travis Kelce, they have injuries at all the other wide receivers position.
I know.
The Eagles have to figure out the left corner spot because they do have to play good quarterbacks. They got to play your guy, Stafford, week 3 coming in. Nix has proven that he can play. Josh Allen, they got to play Josh Allen in Buffalo. Jaden Daniels did a really good job up until about the second half of the NFC Championship game. So they got to play him. They've got some good quarterbacks. They got to go to Green Bay and play Jordan Love. Green Bay, if you look at Green Bay, I mentioned it before, Pat. They were 1-5 in the NFC North, and yet they won double-digit games. They were in the playoffs. If they flip the script of their record in the division, and you look at their schedule, which is they start back-to-back at home against the division rival, and then the team in the NFC Championship game goes on the road on a short week to Green Bay. I mean, that's a layup. The NFL will make.
That's a gift from the NFL. There, you're right.
By the way, why do the Eagles have to go to Kansas City and play the Chiefs?
I don't know.
Catching them in the Super Bowl, Pat. You saw that note I sent you, and I know people are going to say, "Well, they were just in Brazil. They get to be home." All right. Well, then schedule the Chiefs at the Eagles later in the season. The Chiefs should have to come to Philly.
Yeah, I often wonder that, Sal, because 4 years ago, the Eagles played the Chiefs. That rotates every 4 years what division they play. That game was in Kansas City. Remember, it was a Monday night game. And so I don't know how the league, it just appears to be happenstance as to where you play an interconference team. In other words, it's not every other time you play them at home. I don't know. But
well, Sirianni talked about it today. Nick Sirianni, the Eagles head coach, he said in his 4 years that he's been there, he has played 4 teams in all 4 years: the Chiefs, Giants, Commanders, and Cowboys. So it's almost like a division rivalry. That's how much they know one another. And of course, he coached in Kansas City. As you know, he got to start there. He knows the organization inside and out. If Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the ball over, I think the Eagles will win the game. I think the Eagles will win the game on Sunday.
I think they're going to win the game too, Sal. I mean, I can't Kansas. First off, I discount revenge as a factor. They're all big boys here. They're all getting paid a lot of money. I don't think revenge means a thing. It's it's the Jimmys and the Joes. It's just my opinion, but like Bill Parcells famously said. But I think the Eagles are better than Kansas City. And if that Eagle team shows up, I think they're going to win.
Offensive line and defensive line is better. Running back.
Yeah.
Better wide receivers. Yep.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, maybe the better quarterback, which I know is heresy to say in the NFL, but the guy's playing pretty good. So
yep.
I don't think Kansas City has a decided advantage there. Now, Sal, before I let you go, I know you're going to be in the booth Sunday. Seattle traveling east to Pittsburgh to face the offensive juggernaut Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm curious as to your thoughts there as you prepare to do the analysis for the game for ESPN. What Aaron Rodgers was that who showed up Sunday, and do you expect to see more of him?
You know, I just love this opportunity to be in the ESPN radio booth with Steve Levy. I was in the booth at MetLife with Levy last Sunday when the Steelers won that dramatic game by 2 points over the Jets. Don't tell my bosses, but this is the thing that I really want to do, Pat. Okay. Hopefully they're not watching. I mean, I love being on the radio with Steve Levy and in the booth. I mean, how can you not love it? Yeah. You know, when you call a game on radio, you really get a chance to breathe and explain yourself. There's time. You really, and with a guy like Steve Levy, who's just a consummate professional, brings so much energy. It's just the joy of a lifetime.
Right.
Yeah. What I'll tell you this. Here's the one thing that's not being reported, and what I saw pre and post and during the game. Aaron Rodgers really likes Arthur Smith. He really likes the way Arthur Smith called the game. And Aaron Rodgers has had a lot of prickly relationships
with everybody.
Right, but yeah. So he and Arthur Smith have got something special going there. They adjusted well when Aaron Rodgers was getting swallowed up by the Jets defensive line. They adjusted. They moved him out of the pocket. They did a little boot action. They did those little skinny baby rollouts. They made it a little bit more creative, wrinkle in the pocket so that he would be more of a moving target. They used boot action, play action, got him out, moved him to his right. And that really opened things up in the passing game. And several times after Rodgers hit a big play, he would turn to the Steelers sideline and point at Arthur Smith as a gesture of respect.
Yeah.
And if that is the case with Metcalf and those tight ends,
they're
going to be tough offensively, Pat.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. I've covered a lot of Steelers games. They haven't had a passing game since Ben Roethlisberger was there.
Yeah. That could be very interesting in the AFC North if he is able to solidify that offense. Pittsburgh may not be a bad team. They might have something to say in that division.
Well, they won 10 games last year, Pat. Yeah. I mean, with Rodgers, he's got to be good for 2 more games. He's got to be good for 12 wins.
Very interesting. Well, listen, I want you to have a good time at that game Sunday, and looking forward to talking to you again next week. The time just flies by here, Sal. We picked right up where we left off, and thanks for taking all the time. Have a safe trip, and we'll be back with you next week. All right?
And I love it, Pat. We talked this week in pro football. We stuck to the script. I love it.
That's it. I was good this week, wasn't I? Right down the line.
I liked it. All right.
All right, Sal. Thanks a lot, pal. The great Sal Paolantonio joining us there. That will be something to see. If Aaron Rodgers, I'm not saying he's going to play like that every week, but if he can get that team, it'd be nice to see Pittsburgh come back in the AFC North. I mean, come back meaning be an actual threat. Not just a wild card loss. See how that goes. All right, listen, I'm going to take a break here. When we get back, the great Bill Reinhard and his famous commercial is going to join me, and we're going to talk fantasy football. I already got a problem. Sal Pal disclosed something that is a major problem for me. My 3rd round pick just apparently is going on IR. We'll get the latest from Bill on that and much more here on This Week in Pro Football, presented by Concrete Cutting.
Welcome to Park Bank, a return to better banking. With 7 locations across Philadelphia and South Jersey, we prioritize your financial well-being with a blend of modern amenities and traditional customer service. Our professional team is dedicated to providing tailored banking solutions, whether you are opening your first account, planning for retirement, or expanding your business. Our services include a wide range of personal and business banking options with competitive deposit rates and products. We are committed to making your banking experience seamless and efficient with the latest technology at your fingertips and the personalized support you deserve. Park Bank, your bank, your community. For more information, go to parkbank.com. That's Park, P-A-R-K-E, bank.com. Member FDIC. Concrete Cutting Systems Incorporated is the concrete cutting specialist in the Philadelphia area since 1995, and they've become the specialist in the Pittsburgh area as well. These guys are celebrating 28 years as the industry leader in the field of concrete cutting and robotic demolition. So if you have a project that requires any type of concrete cutting or drilling, concrete demolition, or interior excavating, call the specialist, Concrete Cutting Systems, located at 2514 Orthodox Street in the heart of Philly. Call them at 215-533-0652. With a fleet of over 70 service trucks, Concrete Cutting Systems Incorporated is always ready to service all of your concrete cutting, drilling, and concrete demolition and highway sealing needs. These guys are the only full union concrete cutting company based in Philadelphia. So don't delay. Call the boys today at 215-533-0652. And be sure to check them out on Facebook and Instagram at CCSINC_Phila or on the web at concretecuttingsystems.net.
Welcome back to This Week in Pro Football, live on JAKIB Sports. Pat Callahan joining you, previewing Week 2 of the National Football League. How about we bring this gentleman on, Xander? That would be the great Bill Reinhard from Fantasy Guru and the New York Daily News. You can follow him at NFL Fantasy Bill. Bill, how you doing?
Good, Pat. Really nice to see you.
Thanks. Thanks very much, pal. Thanks for joining me again for another season of pulling one's hair out and wrenching off one's fingernails. See, it's happening
to
me.
It's all in fun.
Yeah.
It's all in fun.
Yeah. I see that your hometown's got some news. Sal Pal just disclosed. How long is the Bills starting running back going to be out?
I don't know. If you got Ray Davis, you go pick him up. And they have Frank Gore Jr. on the practice squad, and I think he's a really decent running back. I mean, he might be the first and second down guy. Davis might be, the third down guy. So it's horrible news, and the timing, of course, is never good. But I have no more information than Sal had.
I never should have taken him at the third round, but I always lean to running backs. Because they touch the ball more. So,
right.
But you can't pick a running back but him at quarterback. You just can't do it. First and goal at the one. He might as well. They might as well have 10 men on the field. There's not a chance he's handing that ball.
That is true. That is true. And actually, I took Josh Allen in the first round with my first pick, and I've gotten a lot of nasty notes saying that's taboo. How could you do that? You're supposed to know fantasy football. The guy got me 47 points the other night. I came back and won my game, so everyone could just shut up about taking Josh Allen in the first
I think it's preposterous to hear that anymore. If you have a chance in the first round, you take Lamar Jackson, you take Josh Allen, certainly. What are you talking about? I mean,
you sleep tight.
Yeah. I mean, you know you're going to get 30 points a week out of those guys.
Yeah, and that puts you ahead of anyone else that has, a Bo Nix or a C.J. Stroud.
Yep, exactly right.
100%.
All right, Bill, let's do some overreactions with you also.
Sure.
Whether or not you think these occurrences have staying power or they're just one-offs from really what is an extended preseason. Dallas can run the ball. Overreaction or not?
We'll see. I'm right down the middle. I mean, Javonte Williams, he only averaged 3.6 yards a carry. So let's not, quote Bill Parcells, let's not put him in the Hall of Fame just yet. He's a good running back. He was great out of college. That first year in Denver, he was okay. Then he kept getting injured. But they had faith in him in Dallas. Sean Payton got rid of him. I always thought if Sean Payton couldn't get something out of a running back, no one could. But he had a really good first week, two touchdowns on the ground. Let's see what happens. Eagles are a tough defense, and now they have the Giants, little softer sledding. So you can roll the dice with Javonte Williams, I think, for the next week.
Okay, all right, that's something. I'm thinking maybe as a pickup with James Cook being down, but I got to zero in on who that Buffalo running back. But Buffalo's one of those teams, they have 9 running backs, and you just never know who the hell is going to be in the game. So it's tough.
Yeah.
All right, next, Aaron Rodgers is back in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And that was really interesting what Sal said about him looking at Arthur Smith on the sideline. I mean, he's an offensive coordinator I love to hate. So if he and Rodgers are friends, I can hate them both if they, at the same time. Yeah. But, last year to end the season, Rodgers threw 4 touchdown passes against the Dolphins. Now he opens up this year 4 touchdowns against the Jets. He also was sacked 4 times, which is why he's not practicing this week. He's sore. I just don't believe a 40-year-old quarterback or 41 maybe, can last in a whole season. I just don't believe it. You can start him the next couple of weeks. He's got Seattle. I'm not afraid of them. And then New England, but then he's got Minnesota. Do you really want to start him against Minnesota's defense? And then he's got a bye. So I admire his guts, and he had a hell of a game, but I am not on the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon. I'll believe it when I see it.
All right. So he's nowhere near a top 10 fantasy quarterback in your mind.
No.
Okay.
No, not over the course of the season.
Okay.
Maybe occasionally.
Maybe in a given week. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Last one. Is Bill Reardon getting on the Daniel Jones train?
Danny Dimes. What a great game he had. Like 22 for 27. Ran for 2 touchdowns, and he took him away from Jonathan Taylor, which really teed me off because he's my running back. And he threw for 1. He has a great offensive line in front of him. He's got good receivers in Pittman and Pierce. Got a great running back, a rookie tight end. Yeah, Danny Dimes can play football. Conversely, look over back in the Meadowlands. What's Russell Wilson doing all of a sudden? Or I mean, is he suddenly a bad quarterback? The common denominator is the Giants and Brian Dable. And so, let's let Danny Dimes have his little piece of joy in the sun in Indianapolis. I think he'll be okay. And just stay away from anybody that the Giants touch because they're a cancer. And thank God Dable left the Buffalo Bills because I'd hate to think what he would have done to Josh Allen by now.
Oh, man. I would have been. I don't know. I don't know if anybody can slow down Josh Allen. He is simply a force of nature, that guy. It's unbelievable. But
Pat, I was at that game, not to interrupt you. I was at the Bills-Ravens game on a Sunday night with my wife for our honeymoon. We spent the weekend in Buffalo. The most unbelievable game. We didn't leave. We stayed for the whole thing. And the odds were like 1% that they could pull it out, and they did. And it's just the game is never over with Josh Allen at quarterback.
Yeah. Did you say your honeymoon?
Yeah, I meant anniversary. Sorry.
Oh, man,
I'm still in the honeymoon phase.
Oh, man.
Years, and I'm still in love. So.
Way to go, Bill. Well done, old boy. Now, we've already talked now about 2 of these guys, but 9, by my count, 9 quarterbacks scored rushing touchdowns Sunday or over week 1.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I was complaining about James Cook. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor. This is going to be a season-long problem. If you pick the running back round 1, which let's face it, the majority of people did, you're going to have to sweat this out for almost a third of the teams in the league.
I think it's pure insanity. Why would you risk your marquee player and throw him, and I'm including Josh Allen in this, and throw them into a line of 300-pound men and could end his season? 2 years ago, Josh Allen broke a bone in his left hand. They didn't report it. He just kept it wrapped all year. You can see him flexing it between plays. Every week he was working that hand. And it's just, are you kidding me? Why would you? And they still did the tush push even when he had the broken hand. If you can break your left hand, you can break your right hand in that pile. It makes no sense why these coaches are risking their quarterbacks for these 1 yard touchdowns. We need Marcus Allen jumping over the pile. Remember?
Exactly right.
Hard.
But it's going to be, the Reardon strategy. The winners of fantasy football leagues this year are going to be the guys who drafted Josh Allen, Lamar. Lamar's the best example of what you just said. He weighs about 148 pounds. How do you possibly send him on design runs?
I don't know.
They do it.
Yep, it is what it is.
All right, Bill. How about some week 2 starts and sits? Give me some guys that you think may be primed for a good week 2.
Well, how about a great week? Garrett Wilson against, I hate to make this the Buffalo Bills show, Pat, but their secondary is just patchwork. They couldn't stop anyone last week. They have one corner, Christian Benford, who plays well. The other side's a rookie. The safeties, Rapp and Bishop, they don't know what they're doing. They're spinning in circles. I think Garrett Wilson could have, 10 catches, 180 yards. I'm pretty worried about that, especially with a mobile quarterback like Fields. So get Garrett Wilson in your lineup. I like Njoku, the tight end for Cleveland. They play Baltimore. Cleveland always plays Baltimore tough. I don't know why. They're in the same division. They know each other. Njoku had a touchdown against them last year. He usually does well. I do think that Flacco's going to look for him. So I like Njoku this week. And let's pick on Miami one more time. I think Drake May could have a couple touchdowns, 250 yards against that suspect, suddenly horrible Miami defense.
I don't know, Bill, what happened to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I didn't read up much on them in the offseason and the preseason. But boy, oh boy, they probably were the worst looking team in the league last week.
It's Mike McDonald. What's that? McDaniel. I mean, he's a nut. He's lost the team. There's no spark. With all that speed and all those players, between Waddle and A-Chain and Hill, they scored one touchdown with a minute left last week. Yeah. I mean, something's wrong there. Yeah.
Talking here with Bill Reardon from FantasyGuru.com and the New York Daily News. Bill, slow starts in Denver and Houston last week, certainly. I'll throw the Rams in there too. It's very slow offensive starts. Denver looked like they were taking Tennessee for granted. Houston does not score a touchdown. Any concerns there?
I don't know what's wrong with C.J. Stroud. He had such a nice rookie year. And, I know he lost a lot of receivers last year, but he's not doing it for some reason. He's not pushing the ball down the field. And, Nico Collins was a first-round draft pick for everybody. So it remains to be seen if they can turn it up a notch. But I think it all starts with the quarterback. Chubb ran well for the Texans. That wasn't the problem. I just think C.J. Stroud was an issue. The Rams, they had to be rusty. I mean, Stafford didn't play all preseason. So. Right. And he still did relatively well, for a guy that can't move either. But that was to be expected. And then the Broncos, same way. The Broncos are a good team. Their defense is stellar. They don't give up many yards rushing or receiving. They gave up a lot of touchdowns last year for some reason, but they didn't give up the yardage. But Bo Nix will put it together. They got a good team. They got J.K. Dobbins. Start him while you can before he gets hurt. And I like Sutton. I like Mims and this kid Franklin. So Denver will be fine. All these teams, week 1, get the kinks out, and then they'll be fine.
All right, Bill Reardon. I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot for all the information, and congratulations on your getting married. I think that's terrific. You never close that door, Bill. Good for you. And I look forward to talking to you again next week. And please do something about James Cook. All right, get him back.
I'll go make a phone call. I'll make a phone call.
You do that, Bill. Thanks a lot, pal.
Thanks,
appreciate the time.
Go, Bill.
All right. Bill Reardon joining me there to talk some fantasy. Already the news is bad. And it's just going to get worse. You just know it. I don't know why I did it again. Remember I said I was going to drop it. Hey, let me throw a trivia question out at you, my chat friends here. Remember, the winner gets a fabulous This Week in Pro Football t-shirt. Not available in stores. Don't look it up, okay? Do not look it up. The question goes to this. All you got to do is, if you know the answer, put it on the chat. Xander will spot the first correct answer, and we'll get your information. The question is, in the last 10 years, okay, that's 2015 to 2024, name me the NFL team that has won the fewest games. The last 10 years, name me the NFL team that has won the fewest games. Fair enough? When we get back, we're going to be joined by Justin Mark from the Sports Gambling Podcast. Justin's going to put his money up. We're going to talk some spreads and some props. We'll do that next on This Week in Pro Football.
Welcome back. We've got another exciting play underway at KennedyAuto.com.
That's right. At KennedyAuto.com, you can browse their entire inventory from home.
The customer is scrolling hundreds of Ford, Mazda, and Subaru vehicles right at his fingertips.
He made his selection and got a bottom line price set directly to his email. He could go all the way.
And the deal is good, all without leaving his couch. Incredible. KennedyAuto.com. Enjoy your ride.
Discover the essence of true community banking with First Bank, your trusted partner across Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Their network of branches brings you convenient access to dedicated personal bankers who understand your unique needs. At First Bank, you're not just a customer, you're a valued member of the community. Additionally, they are excited to announce the opening of 2 new branches in Media, Pennsylvania and Trenton, New Jersey, bringing their personalized banking services even closer to you. Connect with any member of the team today at their Westchester office, conveniently located at 849 Paoli Pike, or call them at 484-881-3800. First Bank is an equal opportunity lender and member FDIC.
Johnny Apple's Restaurant and Bar opened in 2001 and for over 20 years has been serving great food and good times to Bucks County residents, friends, and family. Ideally located at 184 Buck Road in Holland, Johnny Apple's offers a terrific array of steaks, seafood, and daily specials. They also host private parties and affairs of any size. For excellent food, great company, and a relaxed lunch or dinner, check out Johnny Apple's Restaurant at 215-953-9900 or at johnnyapplesrestaurant.com.
Okay, welcome back to This Week in Pro Football here on JAKIB Sports. Pat Callahan joining you. And we've still got a while to go here. Still got a couple of all-star guests to bring on, talking about Week 2 in the National Football League. I see the chat here is rumbling along. I see the correct answer has already been stated. Xander, you'll have to help me find whichever one was first, but the correct answer is the Jaguars, who only won 55 games in the last 10 years. That's a pretty rotten job by Jacksonville, huh? Averaging 5.5 wins a year. That's not going to get you a lot of AFC championship berths. So Jacksonville is the correct answer. We will filter out the gentleman or lady who got it first, and thank you very much for taking a shot at it. Matter of fact, I don't see many wrong answers. I see Bears. It's possible. I don't think I'll ever believe in the Bears. We'll see. All right, how about we bring this gentleman on then, Z? And that would be Justin Mark from the Sports Gambling Podcast, the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast and a connoisseur of whiskeys. Justin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, except you kind of put my Bears down right before I hop on. Nice.
I mean, well, then you tell me, Justin. How did they manage to lose that game? And you know what was the most telling play in the game, Justin, Monday night was? It happened in the first quarter. Bears are dominating. They're moving the ball. And back to pass goes Caleb Williams. And Troy Aikman showed it on a slow-mo. There is a guy breaking open on a post, inside post. It's an easy touchdown. All he has to do is wait a split second and lob the ball, and he got a touchdown. And he doesn't. He checks down to a guy in the middle of the field for a 10-yard gain. But that's the Bears. They just lack any type of killer instinct whatsoever. Do you not see that?
No, I completely get what you're saying. I think Caleb Williams has a little bit of panic in the pocket, which, I mean, it's understandable. Last year, he was sacked 68 times. That's the third most in NFL history in a season. So I think that's given him a little bit of pause. But really, as a Bears fan, it felt like, hey, we got this new coaching staff, but it's the same story. We have a lead and we can't keep it because we won't run the ball. They kept passing the ball. I'm like, run the ball, control the clock. What are you doing?
Yeah. Now, Minnesota's tough to run against, but I just think there's just something weaved into the fabric of the Bears right now that says, we're going to find a way to lose this game. And it's a shame. Loyal fans in the Midwest. And it's been a long drought for them as far as a playoff run is concerned. But let's move on here. As far as Justin Mark here from the Sports Gambling Podcast. Justin, did any team catch your eye in week one as being much better than advertised?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about this, and there's a lot that kind of hit my list. I'll just break down my thought process real quick. First, it was Steelers. I was surprised Aaron Rodgers played so well, but I thought maybe I shouldn't dive into that because I am a Bears fan, so I'm a Rodgers hater. I thought the Jets looked good, but maybe I'm favoring Fields, the former Bear. So I'll tell you the one that really stands out, and that's the Raiders. If you would have told me that Ashton Genty was only going to run for 38 yards and Geno Smith was going to throw for over 300 passing yards, I would have said you're crazy. I wouldn't have believed that was going to happen. I think the Patriots are a really good team. I know it was Mike Vrabel's first real game with this unit, but I really think he's a good coach. I just think this was a sign that Pete Carroll is a good coach. He's familiar with Geno Smith. And I think the Raiders are going to be that annoying team that sticks around in every game and can kind of win some of these against opponents that maybe just don't have everything yet.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough division, Justin. If what you say happens, that's going to be they're going to have to play each other twice each. But if you're playing the AFC West, you got a dose right there, as opposed to say the AFC South. I mean, that is night and day playing those two divisions from an interconference standpoint.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Raiders is a good pick. I mean, I'd be curious to see how they do, whether they can hold that kind of momentum going, continuing on. Justin, this show here is based in the East. Philadelphia at Kansas City Sunday. The Chiefs are a home dog, Justin, under Patty Mahomes for only the second time in 70 games. Now, does that weigh on a decision you would make as to picking this game?
It does. I think they deserve to be the dog. Don't get me wrong. I think Philadelphia is the far better team. And as much as I want to come on to, the Philly-based podcast and say they're absolutely going to win, they're the better team. The Eagles are the better team. It's really hard for me to see Mahomes and Andy Reid going 0-2, though. So I think this, even though it's early in the season, this almost feels like a desperation prove-it thing that, hey, we're not the team that got blown out in the Super Bowl minus the last quarter there. We're not a team that's backsliding down from our dynasty. We're a team that can still compete. So it almost feels like already week 2, their back is against the wall, and their schedule doesn't exactly get easier either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, Justin, because you're right. You look at the Jimmies and the Joes, as Bill Parcells famously said. The Eagles have the decided advantage, I think.
Yeah,
but Kansas City is up against it right now, especially with the Chargers being 1-0 and having beaten Kansas City already. This could actually be a season. I think it will be a season where the Chiefs are going to have to fight to win that division.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I know there's a lot of steam for the Broncos. I need to see more of them this year before I buy into that, but the Chargers looked good. And the fact that they did it in the air, not on the ground like you'd expect from Harbaugh, that was a really impressive win, in my opinion.
Yeah. Harbaugh's an impressive coach. He really is. He just has a knack. He just has a knack for tapping into his players. So, yeah, I'd like to see the Chargers. Nice to see the Chargers be relevant again. Justin, get back to that Eagle-Chief game.
Yeah.
Are there any prop bets in that game that may have caught your eye that our viewers might want to know about?
Yeah, I'll give you out 2, one for each team. And some of this for the Chiefs, it depends on if Xavier Worthy actually plays or not. He had that injury as he ran into his own player. which was a little comical coming from an Andy Reid coach team. They don't make those kind of mistakes.
Right.
But if Xavier Worthy is out, Hollywood Brown was the benefactor of all those targets. You can get him at 6 receptions at -120. I like that a little bit better than the 60+ receiving yards, just because he had a lot of little short dump offs to try to get him into open space. So
Right.
I like that 6 receptions. For the Eagles, this is a kind of a fun one. If you're not familiar with betting and you don't know what a ladder bet is, it's where you start at kind of a lower point for somebody's yardage and you bet that, and then all the ones above it or several above it. Now, Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts ran for 72 yards. His baseline is 40 rush yards at -140 right now. 45 is even money. 50 is +140. 60 yards is +260, and 70 is +450. I'm playing all of those. And then you just cash as he keeps running and getting more and more yards. You continue to cash on your bets.
How about that? That's an interesting. No, I had not heard of a ladder bet. So you're playing. Yeah, you're playing on. To me, he's a lock for 60 rushing yards, I would think. You know?
Yeah. And if you play the 45 at even money, the 50 at +140, and the 60 at +260, you cash all those.
How about that? Interesting. Yeah, I guess it makes sense, Justin, doesn't it? I mean, if you believe he's going to run for 60, well, then you might. Then obviously you believe he's going to run for 40.
Yeah.
Might as well put it up. That's a funny thing. All right, let's look around the league. Talking here with Justin Mark from the Sports Gambling Podcast, and a guy who incidentally just cleaned everybody's clock last year with his picks. So please pay attention to what this guy is saying, not just what he's drinking. All right. So, Justin, game, we're talking Bears here, and I'm proud to do it, Justin. But this concerns me now. Chicago, short week. A very, very disappointing loss. You can't look at it any other way. Now they go to Detroit. They just got embarrassed at Lambeau Field. I think this is the kind of setting up as the kind of day of like a 40 to 17 day. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I would try to take my Bears homerism out of this, but I can't. I do think this is Ben Johnson going against his old team. That could work for the Bears, but it could also work for the Lions. They know his tricks. They know what he wants to do. But it's a division rivalry, and even last year when the Bears were in worse shape, they played the Lions pretty tough. So I don't think the Bears are going to win this game, but I do think they're going to cover. They're 5.5-point dogs right now. I think this is a 3-point game. I think it's a grinded out fight game. And I see the chat. I know the Bears suck, but I got to stick with the guys to at least cover.
Oh, yeah. I do see that. I apologize for that, Justin.
It's all good. I can take it.
There's something about the Bears. I don't know. And I was joking. I was saying at the beginning of the show, too, they're not alone. The Atlanta Falcons, they actually at one point in that fourth quarter of that game Sunday stood up and said, hey, we are going to lose this game. And that's the end of it. I mean, you know what I mean? There's just certain teams that just don't know how to get out of their own way.
Yeah.
And that's funny. But all right, let's try and end on an upside here. Do you have a lock of the week? Give me a game that you feel really strongly about this Sunday or Monday.
Yeah. So let's do the battle of the cats here, the Bengals and the Jaguars. The Jaguars looked impressive, and the Bengals didn't. But that's kind of the Bengals' MO, right? They come out week one very slow. They did it last year when they lost, and they weren't supposed to. They were big favorites, then they lost. And then week two, they stepped it up. Now, they did lose that game, but they played much better. The Jaguars, I think it was kind of one of those, not fluke things, but a thing where you're playing the Panthers, who I still don't think are that good. And so they looked better. So this line dropped from 6.5 to 3.5. That feels disrespectful to the Bengals, who have a good team. I think they're going to bounce back. They're back on the same page now. They can get the distractions out of the way. So give me the Bengals -3.5. I think that's one of my favorite ones. But just as another one, you brought up the Falcons. I think they do have it in them to kind of bounce back. They're 3.5-point dogs. I think Minnesota beat a Bears team that, as the chat's saying, as you said, they get in their own way. I don't think the Falcons are going to do it 2 times in a row. I think Michael Penix showed a lot of promise. And so, yeah, I like the Falcons as +3.5-point dogs, even if they lose 3-point game right there.
All right. That's That's a gutsy pick. I like the logic. I like it a lot. I'd love to see it. You know, that's always tough when a team keeps losing games they should win. I'm sure it psychologically kills them. But all right, Justin, why don't you tell everybody about the Old Fashioned Football Podcast?
Yeah, we're talking NFL, go through news, fantasy, bets, basically everything NFL. And then we talk whiskey. It's me and my wife hosting it. We're bickering over fantasy football players, and she's saying, don't place any more parlays because you always lose by one leg. And we're reviewing whiskey. We talk to distillers and kind of give our taste profile this year. We've started a score chart that you can find on Google. So you can kind of see like what do these two think is the best out of what they've rated this year, and kind of get our opinions there.
That market has exploded. That whiskey market, you know,
it
has.
It's
really amazing. You know, beer was always the dominant alcohol choice, but now beer is. I don't know if it's slipped under 50%, but clearly, spirits have made a big comeback.
Yeah, they absolutely have, and some of the things these craft distillers are doing are very cool. So, I would encourage anybody, if they want to check it out, check out the distiller interviews we've done.
Where do you find the podcast, Justin?
Yeah, Old Fashioned Football on YouTube. We're on Spotify and Apple, all the good places like that.
All right, Justin, Mark, thanks for taking the time. Thank you very much for joining me this entire season. I appreciate it very much. I promise I will not pick on your beloved Chicago Bears. Don't you pick on my Rams either. We'll sign an agreement on that right now. All right.
Fair enough.
All right. Thanks again, Justin. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Later. All right, Justin, the guy knows what he's talking about, so please take note. All right, listen, we get back. We're going to wrap it up with Hall of Famer Ray Didinger. We're going to talk to Ray about some trends from the Eagles' opening win over Dallas, and a look at that NFC East. And some things, man, some things are like a stop clock, right? And you know what team I'm talking about. We'll do that to wrap up this week in pro football in just a moment.
Welcome to Park Bank, a return to better banking. With 7 locations across Philadelphia and South Jersey, we prioritize your financial well-being with a blend of modern amenities and traditional customer service. Our professional team is dedicated to providing tailored banking solutions, whether you are opening your first account, planning for retirement, or expanding your business. Our services include a wide range of personal and business banking options with competitive deposit rates and products. We are committed to making your banking experience seamless and efficient, with the latest technology at your fingertips and the personalized support you deserve. Park Bank, your community. For more information, go to parkbank.com. That's Park, P-A-R-K-E, bank.com. Member FDIC. Concrete Cutting Systems Incorporated is the concrete cutting specialist in the Philadelphia area since 1995. And they've become the specialist in the Pittsburgh area as well. These guys are celebrating 28 years as the industry leader in the field of concrete cutting and robotic demolition. So if you have a project that requires any type of concrete cutting or drilling, concrete demolition, or interior excavating, call the specialist, Concrete Cutting Systems, located at 2514 Orthodox Street in the heart of Philly. Call them at 215-533-0652. With a fleet of over 70 service trucks, Concrete Cutting Systems Incorporated is always ready to service all of your concrete cutting, drilling, and concrete demolition and highway sealing needs. These guys are the only full union concrete cutting company based in Philadelphia. So don't delay. Call the boys today at 215-533-0652. And be sure to check them out on Facebook and Instagram at CCSINC_Phila or on the web at concretecuttingsystems.net.
Okay, back here on This Week in Pro Football. Pat Callahan joining you. I think it's been an enjoyable show so far. I hope all of you in the chat and everybody watching has enjoyed it. We're going to be here right through the Super Bowl. So hopefully you'll be back joining me each and every week. You can stream it at any time here on the great JAKIB Sports. And it's always a pleasure to welcome this gentleman to the show. That would be Ray Didinger, an NFL Hall of Fame writer, longtime veteran of Comcast, NFL Films, a prolific author, and a playwright. Tommy and Me was a fantastic play that I had the privilege of seeing. And Ray has a new play out called Spinner, which comes out September 17th, premieres at the Delaware Theater Company. Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
All right. Well, you are one busy man. I got to tell you, that's an impressive resume there, Ray. And you don't appear to be slowing down whatsoever. So
that's what my wife tells me.
Yeah. All right. Good for you, Ray. Good. And hopefully you'll keep up that same energy for the next 15 minutes or so. And thanks for taking the time. Week 1, the Eagles beat Dallas. I thought it was, I don't want to use the term desultory, Ray. I think it was just a workmanlike win. I didn't think there was much flash or dash there. Did you see any trends of note, good or bad, from the Eagles' performance in their win over Dallas?
Well, I think we're all kind of in agreement that the offense is going to just find its stride. The starters really didn't play the preseason. In fact, they barely practiced in the preseason if you get right down to it. Yeah. So I wasn't a little bit surprised the offense looked a little sluggish. I don't think they're going to have many weeks, nor do I think they're going to win many weeks when they get 60 yards out of Saquon Barkley and 24 yards combined out of Smith and Brown as receivers. That's not going to be a winning formula going forward, and I don't expect it to happen again. So the offense, I think, is just going to work things out. Defensively, I think some of the issues that you saw defensively are more concerning to me because I don't know that you have the answers in-house. I don't know that you have that other cornerback right now, and to me, that's the one thing that I came away from that, this is, some of this other stuff I think is going to work itself out. It's just part of the early season football. But the other cornerback opposite Mitchell, to me, is something, I don't think you have the answer right now. And I think you're going to have to address that. Some of the other stuff, listen, if they get Carter back, when they get Carter back in the defensive line, they'll play the run better and they'll be a better team up front. But they have to find that other cornerback opposite Mitchell. Because I think what you saw Thursday night at home was that, well, if Kaylee Ringo isn't the answer, I don't think Adoree Jackson's the answer either.
Yeah. Sal Paolantonio was on earlier, and he zeroed in on the exact same thing. And let's face it, the Eagles have a tough schedule this year. They're going to start playing a number of teams that could take advantage of that. So you're going to have to do something to fix it. Not easy to do, right? Good cornerbacks are not waiting for the phone to ring. They already have a helmet on.
Yeah, I know. And, I think that the coaches, if you read between the lines, listening to Sirianni talk and Fangio talk, you kind of get the feeling that they thought Kaylee Ringo was going to win that job. They gave it to him. They gave him every chance to win it. And the fact is that in practice and in games, he just wasn't that good, and so Adoree Jackson was kind of just a fallback position, really. But now he winds up starting. And, he's not your long-term answer. I really think not too many weeks into the season here, Pat, I think it's going to be Bennett. I really do. I think that when they made the trade for him, I thought it was kind of significant when I heard that they told him, take the red eye. In other words, get here as quick as you can. So he wasn't just an by the way acquisition. Right. I think they brought him in here with the idea that they wanted him to get playing time right away. Now, Vic is one of these old school kind of coaches that he's not going to put a guy on the field until the guy has really mastered the system. As good as Cooper DeJean is, and he's really good. Remember, it was like 5 weeks into the season before we really let him play because he had missed time in training camp with the hamstring. Right. And then when you put him in there, he was great. Yeah. Now, Bennett, I think he's just learning the system right now. But I have a feeling that not too far down the road, he's going to get a chance to win that job, and I think he probably will.
All right. That'll be let's follow that because I think you're right. I think it's the one area of the Eagles team that's right now it's kind of open, and they got to fix it. Ray, I can't help whenever you're on. Somehow I always do this to you. I get you talking about the New York Giants. because it's fascinating to me, this car wreck. I had a guest on just a minute ago. We were talking about the Bears, and I was lamenting about teams like Chicago that just can take any kind of potential win and turn it into a loss. I read the New York Post, and I they're brimming with optimism, going into the Labor Day. The Giants look great. The Jets, they're no surprise. And then the Giants show up again. Is there any hope at all for that team? Or is it an overreaction to say that week 1 is going to be the Giants season?
Pat, I got to tell you, I was one of the people that said, I think the Giants are going to be much better this year. I will put that out there because I said it in a couple of places, so I know people heard it and they're probably going to let me hear about it. But I saw them. I always said that I would never allow myself to be fooled by the preseason. I've seen too many of them. I've been fooled too many times. I'm not going to take preseason football seriously. I've said it a million times, and then I think I allowed myself to be fooled by what the Giants did. I mean, I saw their game against the Jets, and I saw their game against the Patriots, and I came away from it saying, yeah, I think they're pretty good. I definitely think their front on defense is quite good, and I think that's legit. I don't think that was any accident. And I didn't know what they were going to get from the offense, but I liked what I saw. I really liked the kid Jackson Dart. I think he's a pretty good player. I knew they were going to start the season with Wilson, but I thought they'd be okay. And I kind of thought, in fact, I told somebody, I forget who it was, I said, I'd be willing to bet you on Sunday. I'm not a betting man, but I would take the Giants and the points in Washington. I really would, because I think the Giants are going to be better than people think this year. Well, then they came out and just laid a huge game. And, so maybe, Pat, maybe to your point, maybe they're just the Giants, and that's what they are, and that's all they're ever going to be. I don't know how they're going to sort things out on the offense. I think it's sooner rather than later with Dart. I think if they go down to Dallas and lose and can't find the end zone again in that game, they might go to the kid the next week. I mean, they might go to him that soon. But defensively, with Carter and Thibodeau and Lawrence and some of those guys up front, their defensive front is pretty good, and I think can keep them in some games. Their pass rush is going to be there every week. That area, they're definitely better. But offensively, they kind of look like the same train wreck we've been seeing for years.
They got to go to Dart. I wouldn't do it Sunday, Ray, especially if you're going to start Wilson. Finish the game with Wilson. Don't put that kid in the third quarter of a 28-0 rout.
No.
But I think he can't wait any longer than that. The Giants are going to revolt on him. So,
and I thought, and I really liked Dart when I saw him in college last year. I mean, I thought that people were talking about him as a second-round pick. I didn't think so. I mean, I thought he was a legit first-round pick. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a good move by the Giants trading back into the first round to get him. And then again, I know it's preseason, but I thought he looked really good. And they're not going to listen. Dable can't go. I mean, he can't let go too many weeks not scoring points. I mean, his job's on the line. And so, I mean, if they go down to Dallas and stall out offensively and lose again, I kind of am with you. I think they might go to the kid in week 3. I really do.
Yeah. I'm talking here with the great Ray Didinger, Hall of Famer and prolific playwright. I tell you, another Ibsen here in the Delaware Valley area. Ray, before we talk about the play, though, I wanted to, 2 other things I want to mention to you. First is Eagles Chiefs. Now, I've gotten a lot of dialogue tonight on the show, pro and con, about how this game might play out. I don't see it as a revenge game. I don't think the Chiefs are built that way. But how desperate a game is it for Kansas City coming off that loss and the fact that the Eagles did manhandle them? Do you expect the Chiefs to go all out here to not go 0-2 for the first time in 10 years?
Yeah, I don't, Pat, I don't think it's really about revenge for the Super Bowl. I mean, the Chiefs just have to make things right. I mean, they have to worry about who they are right now. Forget the revenge thing. Is that in somebody's mind? Maybe. But I think it's more important that they just don't want to get to 0-2. I mean, that was a really a gut punch kind of a loss to the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are a team that the Chiefs have owned forever. I mean, the Chiefs have owned the Chargers for the longest time.
Right.
And for them to lose that game the way they lost it, that had to be pretty sobering. And now they come into this game at home off the long trip to Brazil and back, which the Eagles went through last year, and then lost week 2 at home.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are coming into this game. They won't have their top 2 receivers. Rice and Worthy are both out. So, you got Patrick Mahomes, but you got nobody to throw to.
Right.
It didn't look like they could run the ball at all in that game against the Chargers. I know that, and you know this as well as I do, that, Andy is very good about fixing things in the offense. I mean, he's a really good, he loves to fiddle around and come up with stuff, and he can generally work things out. But right now, I just think the offensive line, even though they've tried to improve it, doesn't look like it's a whole lot better. They're missing their 2 biggest players in the passing game at the outside. They've still got Kelsey. I think they're in a little bit of trouble. And, Pat, when going into the season, when we all look at preseason predictions, everybody's looking down the road, who's going to win the divisions, who are going to be the playoff teams, what 2 teams are going to be in the Super Bowl. I found it very interesting, and I looked at all of them, okay? I must have seen 150 guys in the media, guys that kind of know what's going on, guys that are plugged in, how they were projecting this season. And very few people had the Chiefs gone back. I mean, there just seemed to be a feeling generally across the board that, not that the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs and be out of the running or anything, but I think there was a general feeling that, it's kind of past that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Everybody was real high on Baltimore. Everybody was real high on Buffalo. And boy, they played a barn burner the other day to start the season. And that could very well be your AFC Championship game. That could be. But it seemed to be that's where everybody was looking, and everybody was kind of saying, I kind of think the Chiefs I think they're on their way down a little bit. And what we saw in Brazil, that might be true.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, and it is about time. I mean, how long can a dynasty stay a dynasty? Sooner or later, it's going to topple. It's just the way of it. And the Chiefs haven't drafted that well. And neither had New England, and that eventually that's going to catch up to you too. All right, Ray. So, but you see Philadelphia, you see a big effort by the Chiefs, but I mean, Philly's got the better players. I think the Eagles are going to win. What do you think?
I do too. I do too. I think the Eagles are going to. I think the Eagles are going to win. I like them in this game. It scares me a little bit. With the secondary being what it is. Mahomes, if he had his full complement of receivers, could give him problems. He'd probably give him problems anyway. Right. But I thought Justin Herbert, man. I mean, he just took that Kansas City defense apart, and that late drive that they had to sort of ice the game. And Pat, he's 8 for 8, and it looked easy. I mean, it looked like a 7-on-7 drill. Just bing, 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 bing. And I think that, the Eagles, the Chargers kind of handed the Eagles the blueprint and how to play the Chiefs right now. It's a lot of quick throws, quick releases. And I think this is a game where you're going to see Smith and Brown get back in the offense in a big way in this game. And I know it's funny. Have you seen the odds, the point spread this week? Are the Chiefs favorite?
1.5. Eagles are 1.5 favorite.
That's interesting. I kind of thought it might almost be pick'em, just out of basic respect for the Chiefs playing at home. Yeah. But if I had to pick it, looking at it right now, I mean, I'm not talking about huge points, but I mean, I would probably favor the Eagles. And right now, if I had to pick it, I would probably pick the Eagles.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go Philadelphia too. Their team's not going to be fazed by anything, Super Bowl rematch or any of that. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. All right, Ray, you mentioned the Chiefs and the Chargers game, which, of course, was on Apple TV plus minus a week ago. Thursday Night Football, of course, is on Prime. And then Monday night, there's a doubleheader, one of the games of which is on ESPN Plus, which you also have to pay to stream, to view. I wanted to get an opinion from a veteran like yourself, somebody who really grew up with me watching the NFL turn into a television Leviathan.
Sure.
Is the NFL risking a backlash here by pushing all these games onto streaming services, or is there just no end to the demand for the league's product?
I kind of think there is no limit to the demand. I mean, I'm sure people don't like it. You hear a lot of complaining about the games that are going to streaming that people can't get anymore. A lot of people don't like the way the schedule's set up. It's all about TV now. It's kickoff times, if the flexing of games. Now you're not just flexing games within the day. Now you can flex games from Sunday to Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is geared towards it being almost a TV studio show. Right. And I know the fans don't like that. The older fans like me, and probably you, don't like that, the way the league caters to TV.
Right.
And people will complain, and they'll bitch about it. But the fact of the matter is, they're going to watch it, and they're going to find ways to watch it. The question that's been asked to me, people have asked me, especially now in the last couple of years, when you see how many more of these games are going behind the wall, are we going to see a day when the Super Bowl is pay-per-view?
Yeah.
And there is a time when I would have said, oh, no, that will never happen. No, that'll never happen. Now I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm really not so sure. But it bothers me. It really does bother me the way I understand it. I understand that TV fuels the engine of the NFL. It's the biggest source of revenue that they have. It's made all the owners, all the teams, and the commissioner very rich. But I mean, the fact that everything is about TV now is, to me, very bothersome. And the increasing movement towards more and more streaming, I find really, really bothersome. And I don't think it's going to stop. And I don't think it's going to reverse. It's just a question of how much further does it move and how fast.
Yeah, I agree too, Ray. I think it's here to stay. And your answer about the demand being elastic, if you remember your economics, appears to be correct. I mean, there's no end to people's desire to watch NFL football. And so it's more money for 32 people. God bless them.
Pat, when I worked 13 years at NFL Films, so I worked hand in hand with the great Steve Sable, who he and his dad did so much about the popularity, growing the game of pro football. Right. NFL Films was huge in that. Right. And there was nobody that loved the NFL more than Steve did. I mean, it was his life, for heaven's sake. And, I remember when they went to this Thursday night football thing and, having triple header games on Mondays and all of this stuff that it seemed like there was football. It was like the NBA. Every time you turned the TV on, there was an NFL game. Right. And I said to Steve, Steve, I think there's going to be a point of diminishing returns here. I think there's just so much NFL football out there that I think they're oversaturating the audience. I really think it's going to be counterproductive. And Steve said, no. Nope. He said, the more you put out there, the more they're going to consume. He said, because people in this country love pro football that much that you can't give them too much. And at the time I wasn't sure, but the more I see it and the more I hear about it and the more I see how people are caught up in it. And make no mistake, fantasy is a big part of it too.
It is. It is a
big part of it too. But I'm starting to lean towards where Steve was, that no, as much as you put out there, they'll consume it and ask for it.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Ray Didinger, another play coming out next week called Spinner at the Delaware Theater Company. Why don't you tell us about it and what prompted you to write it? And there you go. There you go.
Here it is. There's the poster, and there's the Delaware Theater Company.
All right.
Pat, it was actually a story that it's a true story about hockey. And it's a story that I wrote for the Philadelphia Bulletin, the old evening bulletin, back in 1971.
Wow.
About the first NHL game played by a kid named Brian Spencer, whose nickname was Spinner. His first game in the NHL, called up from the minor leagues to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the bizarre story that unfolded around that game, which I can't really get into because it spoils the plot, but it was almost, it reads like Pulp Fiction, what happened with this kid that night.
No kidding.
And so I was working at the Bulletin that time. I saw the story come over the wire. I thought it was an amazing story. I followed up on it, called the Maple Leafs. Brian Spencer actually called me back. We had a long interview. I wrote a story about that night. And he and I developed a relationship that lasted throughout his 10-year NHL career. And the whole story it's really kind of a story. It's a hockey story, but it's a story about a father and a son, and the price of pursuing your dreams. You know, everybody has dreams, and we all chase after our dreams. And sometimes we're lucky enough to live out our dreams, but there is the question of the price that you pay to do that. And that's really kind of the story of Brian Spencer. And I had that story rattling around in my mind for 50 years. Yeah. After I wrote it for the Bulletin, I could never lose that because it was just such a strange, heartfelt story that I felt one day I would come back and I would write it again. And now I have, and it's going to be a play, and it's going to be at the Delaware Theater Company on the stage, September 17th to October the 5th. And we got really lucky. We have 7 of the very best actors from this region that all signed on to do it. So I think it's going to be, I'm really excited about it. So I hope people can come out.
All right. So that's a week from tonight, the play opens.
The opening night. And by the way, right after that, Tommy and Me comes back. I know you came out to see it last year at People's Light Theater in Malvern.
Right.
And that run went so well that People's Light has asked us to come back. So we're coming back, bringing Tommy and Me back to People's Light October the 7th through October the 19th. So if people have never seen Tommy and Me, and this is year 10 for Tommy and Me, amazingly enough, you can come out to People's Light in the middle of October. Go to the website, and I'll tell you the dates, and you can come out and catch Tommy and Me, which is a pure football story. And
I loved it. It was a great play, great story.
Really, people, it's amazing. People still come out and see it. It's a lovely story, and people have really responded to it.
Do you have the Delaware Theater Company website? Where would people go for tickets for next year?
Just go to the Delaware Theater Company, and their website will pop up, and you'll see the logo for Spinner. And just click on that. It'll give you all the dates and ticket availability. And we're going to have, because it's a hockey story, we're going to have some hockey people coming out to do part of the post-show Q&A like you took part of.
Right.
So Bernie Perron is going to be there opening night. The Watson brothers, Jimmy and Joey Watson, are going to do one night, and Brian Propp will do one night. So they'll come in. They all know the Brian Spencer story. In fact, Bernie actually played with him in Toronto.
In Toronto, I was just going to say that. I remember Brian Spencer. I remember curly blonde hair. Yeah. That's funny. All right. Well, that's great. Great job by you. Congratulations on the play. I hope it's a tremendous success. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Ray. Thanks very much for joining me and taking the time. Look forward, of course, to having you back again as the season unfolds. All right.
I look forward to it, Pat. Anytime.
All right. Thanks very much, Ray.
See you now. Bye-bye.
The great Ray Didinger joining me there. Abe is the trivia winner. Abe, if you can somehow get Xander your mailing information, we will send off a This Week in Pro Football t-shirt to you. Jacksonville Jaguars, 55 wins in 10 years. All right. That will do it for tonight. Thank you very much for viewing tonight's show. And don't forget, it streams all week on JAKIB Sports YouTube. So check it out and tell 10,000 friends or so. Okay. Thanks very much to Xander Kraus for producing. Thanks again to you. Thanks to all my guests, Sal Powell, Bill Reardon, Justin Mark, Ray Didinger. And we'll be at it again. We'll be back next week to take a look back at Eagles Chiefs and Eagles Rams coming up. A rematch of that terrific NFC divisional playoff game last year. All right. We'll talk to you again next week on This Week in Pro Football.